What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So for this movie review, we are taking a look at the film called The Exorcism. Now, this was one of two films, and actually this was, from a release perspective, this was the second film that Russell Crowe did on this subject matter of exorcisms or exorcist. So we did review the previous film, The Pope's Exorcist. So if you haven't checked out that video, it's already up on the channel, so go check it out. If you can't find it directly on the page for recent uploads, we do have a playlist for movie reviews, and it should be the most recent one there, excluding from this one. Because the reason we're doing this one second is because this one did come out in 2024, while The Pope's Exorcist came out in 2023. So that's why we're doing this one second. So yes, Russell Crowe did two films on the subject matter back-to-back years. Again, The Pope's Exorcist came out in 2023, which was a much more traditional film on the subject matter. Now, this film that came out in 2024 called The Exorcism, while it is on the subject matter and it does get into the fact of demonic possession, someone does get possessed, he happens to be one of the individuals. It's not your traditional film, and we will get into that as we get into spoilers. So if you haven't seen this film and you do plan on seeing this film, I would recommend, stop the video, go check out the film, come back, finish watching it, let us know if you agree, disagree with our rating, and how, if you liked it, didn't like it, and drop a comment in the comment section. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. We are closing in on 500 subscribers for the channel, which is a milestone for us. So again, if you haven't done so already, please do so. Otherwise, we're going to move forward with this review. And again, we are going to talk spoilers. So just be aware of that. And we will try to keep this, this summary pretty high level so we don't spoil too much if you still plan on seeing this film. So again, as I mentioned, this stars Russell Crowe. It is considered a supernatural horror film, but obviously it does fall within the realm of the subgenre of, religious horror, demonic possession, exorcisms, things of that nature. Obviously, it's called The Exorcism, so it's going to fall into that subgenre as well. Now, this film, like I said, is vastly different from The Pope's Exorcist. That one is very traditional. He plays a real priest in that film, dealing with a true, individual, and actually a couple of individuals who are possessed, one by a demon, one by the king of hell, and the film plays out that way. This one is very different. In this film, Russell Crowe plays an individual by the name of Tom, and actually I believe he plays Tom. Anthony. Sorry, Tom is another priest in the film. He plays Anthony, or goes by Tony, I believe. His daughter calls him Tony. So he is an actor, and he is working on lines. He's up for this role in this film. The only reason he's going up for this role in this film to play this priest is because earlier on in the film, the actor who is actually playing the priest, and the film that they're doing is called the Georgetown Project, and that right there should almost be an indication. If you're a horror film and you're into these into this subgenre, that should give you a clear indication of they're doing a movie within a movie, right? Because they're actors, they're gonna be doing this project in this film, and it's supposed to be the Georgetown Project. This is the name of the movie that they're working on in this movie. And once you see the layout and once you see the story, it's meant to reflect or resemble The Exorcist, the original film. So I mean, if you know that film, just hearing the Georgetown Project, the fact that it's Georgetown, that would have been a clear indication and just the subject matter. So, the actor that's playing the priest in the very beginning is killed by this demonic entity or this demon, so they have to recast, and eventually what happens is Tony is up for it. Now, when Tony is in there reading lines with an actor, the director is not liking it, is not feeling it, and he stops him from reading lines, like reading the script, and goes over there to have just a back and forth conversation. Now, side note, Tony is obviously an older actor, and he's had a rough life where he's abused alcohol, he's had other substance abuse issues. His wife has recently passed away, but when his wife was alive, he wasn't a great relationship. He doesn't have a real good relationship with his daughter either. So everyone knows him in the industry of having this past, and he's tried to move on from this past. And he also takes medication as well because he does have a memory issue where he is forgetful of things, and he does sleepwalk. So he's got all these things going on. So while the director tries to have this back and forth with him, you can see the director's trying to almost rile him up, like bringing up past things that, Tony doesn't really want to talk about. And while he's doing that, he's having his cameraman film this. And so he does ask him some questions about himself as a I don't want to say choir boy, but he was part of the Catholic Church when he was young. I'm not sure. They don't really get into what his role was, but they do some flashbacks where they don't necessarily show if he was abused by a Catholic priest, but they do show some level of flashbacks where something was happening. Something had happened to him, which is why he has fallen away from the Catholic Church, but also just happens to be now trying to get a role in a film playing a Catholic priest, which is in itself difficult for him. So when he films him being very real and very raw, the director uses that for Tony to find his, that part in him, inside of him, to play this role. But again, it becomes very difficult. As we continue to move on, he gets casted for the role, excited about it, but once he gets on set, the entity that was in the previous individual who was playing the role now moves into Russell Crowe, and you can see him starting to deteriorate. It's almost as if he's not fighting it off, but the demon doesn't have full control over him. And as the film goes on, he starts to get more and more control for Russell Crowe. So he starts to look very run down, very tired, and the demon starts to come out a bit. So Russell Crowe starts to lash out at his daughter. He can't read his lines, and he's starting to do things supernatural. Like he's starting to contort his body. He's starting to slam his head on the table, on the wall, without really killing himself or injuring himself that normally would. So he comes to be fully on possessed. Now the daughter and another actress in the film, who would be portraying Regan from, if you think about the original Exorcist, go to the priest that's on set that's supposed to be like an advisor to find out what they can do. This priest then tries to then exorcise Tony because he can see that there is a demon inside of him. He then tells the demon to take him over and leave Tony alone. This priest is very old. It's almost as if he's willing to sacrifice his life. Like I've lived my life. I know I have my sins, and this is how I'm going to repent for them. The demon jumps from Crowe to this other priest, but then Crowe and his daughter and the actress say, no, we're not going to leave. We're not going to leave him behind. We're going to try to exorcise this demon as well. I mean, he's just playing a priest. He's not a priest. None of them were true believers up until this point, and then somehow they're able to exorcise the demon, which again makes zero sense. Once the film comes to an end, seems like the daughter and the father Tony have a relationship, but they've kind of parted ways where they're not together, and it doesn't really. The film just kind of comes to an end, right? She's off doing her own thing. He's in a confessional, confessing to a priest about their relationship. But again, after the exorcism takes place and this back and forth where they're counting these days down of how long it's taken to film this movie, it feels like the movie is very disjointed. It's almost as if we're missing pieces of the story where he's fine, you see him deteriorate, but then you move from like day 2 of filming to day 13 of filming, and you see this drastic change in him. And it just, again, the jumps don't make sense. They feel a very pieced together. I guess that's the best way I could put it. So, and again, the way the film just kind of comes to an end. The fact that there were people that were killed on the set, And doing that as well, I think they were also trying to play the fact that when people were killed on this movie set and they're doing a film that's supposed to be portraying the Exorcist, it was almost like they were trying to do some callbacks to what were happening in the 70s and 80s on these movie sets, like with the Poltergeist, and how some people felt like these sets were haunted and there were truly demonic entities or spirits on these movie sets that were causing deaths or injury. They were trying to play that into this as well, which again felt a little bit disjointed, because unless you know those things, you'd be wondering, why is it even happening in this film, right? Because there's a couple times where lights fall from the ceiling with no rhyme or reason whatsoever. So that didn't make sense. And again, his deterioration and just his supernatural abilities just kind of come out of nowhere, that you don't necessarily see in other films on this subject matter, which again felt very disjointed. So all in all, when I look back at the film he did in 2023, The Pope's Exorcist, and then he does this one in 2024, two vastly different films. I have my problems with the other one, and go watch that video and you'll understand what they are. But I would definitely take The Pope's Exorcist over this film, The Exorcism, of the two that he did back to back. This film, if I'm giving it a rating, I gotta go, it's 2.5. I can't even go mid on this one. And again, I'm someone who loves this subject matter. I love the subgenre for this, and Russell Crowe's a great actor. I just think this film missed the mark altogether. So I'm giving it 2.5. And I know it didn't do well at the box office. I don't know what the budget was for this, but I recall when I was looking this one up, it didn't even break $13 million at the box office. And that's pretty poor when you think just of the fact of probably what it cost just for the casting alone. Like what probably it cost just to get Russell Crowe into this role, and some of the other like mid sub actors for this as well. Like I know you had like Sam Worthington was in this, Adam Goldberg was in this. So it wasn't like this was just Russell Crowe and a bunch of no-name, supporting actors and actresses. There were some well-known, established people in this, and it just wasn't good. So I could even probably make a case to say a 2, or like I said, or 2.5. So again, that's my review on this one. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think if you've seen The Exorcism. Again, I would recommend, as I always do, watch a movie for yourself, watch a TV series for yourself, because you may watch this and you may enjoy it and you say, hey, I don't know why this is a 2 or 2.5. I enjoyed it. I love it. So I would still recommend go watch it for yourself. It's only 90 minutes long, like typical, like 95 minutes, give or take, like most horror films are. But go into it with low expectations. Like I said, I'm giving it a 2.5. That's the best I can do for this one. So that's going to do it for this movie review of The Exorcism with Russell Crowe from 2024. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think if you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, and if you have, what did you rate it? Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we will see you at the next one. Peace.